just like you and me.
I think it's nicer.
You definitely bothers yourself.
Alex, we good?
More kind.
Yeah, you are good.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the select board meeting of January 7th, 2026. With me this evening is Amy Parsons, Jane Nevin Smith, myself, Randy Iser, Molly Keegan, and David Phil. Pursuant to Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022 as amended, this meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format. Public has been provided with adequate alternative means of access via Zoom, as noted in the posted meeting notice, along with access and participation instructions. As chair, I hereby notify all participants that this meeting is also being recorded by the town through Hadley Media and will be made accessible to the public. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, any person who intends to record or transmit this meeting must inform the chair at this time. I don't see anybody offering up that they're recording, and are we supposed to have microphones by any chance?
We are using the big,
Oh.
So
Bring back the dice.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's get right into it. Item 2.1, Edward Keeler retirement. Mr. Keeler, would you be so kind as to come front and center, please, sir? I know you love being in the limelight.
Oh, no.
his favorite.
Oh,
But he likes his room.
Well, yeah.
He missed you.
Okay, we have a proclamation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Hadley, by the Select Board. Whereas Edward Keeler has been a longtime resident of the Town of Hadley, and whereas Edward Keeler has faithfully served the Town of Hadley for 38 years, and whereas Edward Keeler served as a foreman in the Highway Division of the Department of Public Works, and whereas Edward Keeler was also a valued member of the Building Maintenance Division, where he became affectionately known as Ed the Gardener Extraordinaire, and a beloved member of the Council on Aging staff, who regarded him as both a trusted helper and a friend. And whereas Edward Keeler has been a dedicated and respected employee with whose commitment and service to the town will be greatly missed, now therefore be it resolved that we, the Select Board of the Town of Hadley, Massachusetts, on behalf of its residents, do hereby extend our sincere thanks and appreciation to Edward Keeler for his many years of exemplary service and dedication to the Town of Hadley. Congratulations, given this 7th day of January in the year 2026. So you get this proclamation with a nice picture of Town Hall attached, which you can do with as you please. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. If you'd like to say a few words, feel free.
I'm good.
Come on.
And I just want to say, Eddie, you've been around for a long time. And I've been around for not nearly as long, but I appreciate your flexibility. You've been through an awful lot of changes in your job over the years and assignments, and you've been great to work with. And I don't think it's the worst time for you to be getting out right now, because I think there's more change afoot. So enjoy yourself and relax, and look forward to seeing you around town.
Thanks.
Keep bringing jalapeno.
Bringing them?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
See some. Yeah.
Going on vacation now?
No. Stay right here.
Well, you can vacation in town.
Yeah, down my place at the river.
There you go. All right, moving right along. Item 3.1 is the consent agenda. On the consent agenda this evening, we have minutes from December 3rd, 2025. And we have the appointment of the deputy tree warden, Kayla Labrio.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Molly, second by David. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item 4.1, public comments. Anybody here for public comments? Either in the building, which there's nobody, and on Zoom? No.
Nobody's indicating.
Okay. Now, item 5.1 is, we're going to take that up shortly. First, we're going to go to item 6.3, which is pertinent to item 5.1. So item 6.3 is an open meeting law complaint from December 17th of 2025. I hope everybody has seen it. It's very intriguing to me that we get somebody from Alabama to file a complaint against us. But the complaint states that we did not list the establishments to be considered for renewal of their business licenses on the agenda as required by the open meeting law. The motion voted on did not even mention the names of any of the establishments who were having their license renewed. Well, I've looked into this a little bit and I looked at the agenda and the names of said licensees were on there. There were two, Rinky Dink, Interstate 91 and Cinemark Theaters. So I don't know what that's all about, but anyhow, we have to address it. So it is my opinion that we did not violate open meeting law. If anybody on the board disagrees, feel free to let me know.
And we know that agenda was publicly posted. That's the one that the public could see.
Yes, everything's publicly posted. And in your agenda, it says license renewals, which is what y'all did.
Mhm.
And always there's attachments and things. So that's not posted on the public, but it is available to the public via board docs at all times.
So what this complainant would like us to do is to vacate all renewals made at the December 17th meeting and reconsider their renewals at a properly posted select board meeting, which would be this evening. So I'm not familiar with the process of vacating the renewals. What do we need to do, if anything?
You don't actually need to vacate them. I'm just asking you to vote again, just so there's,
Okay.
it will not hurt to just vote them again.
Yeah.
And I do ask that this time you make the motion with the name of the businesses and the licenses, which is all labeled there very clearly.
Okay,
Okay.
so,
Can I make a motion?
well, hang on. We're done with this, you believe?
I believe you are done with this. I will, the other part of this is that we send him a formal explanation of what we've done to correct it, which I will take care of tomorrow, Mike, and send out.
Including the action that we're taking.
Yes,
tonight.
including the action that you're taking tonight to how we corrected the proposed.
Okay,
So do we have to do two separate votes? Then the ones that were from the December 17th and then the additional
Yes,
Santa group,
Yep.
two separate
Yeah.
votes.
okay, so that being done, we're gonna move back to item 5.1, which is select board license renewals.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion that we renew the following licenses that were previously approved at our December 17th, 2025 meeting. First one to Rinky Dink Inc., also known as Interstate 91, for a common vic skating rink and automatic amusement license. And also Cinemark USA for a theater license and automatic amusement license.
So moved.
second.
Actually, you already moved.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Motion by Molly, second by Jane, due to a technicality on Amy's part. All those in favor? Aye.
And then I'll also make a motion that we vote to renew the following licenses. The Hannah Group, is that Genji Sushi,
Yes.
What it looks like.
common vic license.
Second.
Okay, motion by Molly, second by Amy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, excellent.
And then,
I was just gonna give you all an update right now. There are five businesses that have not renewed at this time. I'm still working with them, and at this point, all of them will incur a late fee. I don't know if you want me to read the names out, or if you'd like to just wait and I'll update you if they fail to continue on.
Yeah, why don't you do that? They probably don't need to be mildly humiliated.
I don't want to, but it is your licenses, so I
Yeah,
want to make the offer if you want to.
No,
So we're almost all wrapped up. It's not a bad turnout from here.
what's the late fee? Great.
$100. Some of the licenses are $100, so it's quite a big deal to pay for them.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to new business, item 6.1, electrical settlement agreement. Jennifer is going to explain this to us.
If y'all remember the electrical, community electrical aggregation program town participates in, we went out to bid with Good Energy for a new company. And our current company at the time did not win the bid. And in the transition period, the DPU, which is Department of Public Utilities, changed the rates of the electrical aggregation program, which meant towns, people were due a refund. However, the refund was so small individually that the company was not able to disperse the refund out to the residents. So they offered the green community credits to the town, which we said no thank you to, because green energy.
Okay,
All right.
so anyhow, electrical settlement agreement.
So, so we worked with them to come up with a settlement agreement that they would refund the money to the town. As a settle agreement, and the town would use those funds to the benefit of the town. The funds have come in, it's $33,050. And so now we need to use them. It does need to be something along the lines of a electrical use. So I've talked to Linda, talked to Scott, had a couple of options, but I need to know which direction y'all would like to go. First option is the easiest, and I know that we're in a budget crisis, so first option is that we apply these funds directly to the town buildings electrical accounts for years. That's $120,000 budget. That's what we pay in electricity every year. So we apply that $33,000 to electrical bills for the year, which means the remaining funds in that account would then be turned over to free cash at the end of the year. That would be one use of it, which would support electrical. The other option is Scott feels that he has a few projects at the DPW that we could put those funds to. As I understand from him, the municipal, I know he's on here, so if he wants to pipe in, he can. But none of this is firm at this time. This is just so there's a problem with the garage lights on the outside of the building. They're not working that great, so they could be repaired and fixed. We could do, I think, lighting. There's another place with lighting down at the PDW that we could also do. We could put in electrical vehicle charging. If that is something the town were to look into, this would allow us $33,000 would allow us to put in the pad the electrical box that you need for it to set up the space. We'd have to have a place for it, but that is another option that we could look at. Or we could save the money and put it towards putting electricity on another town or solar on another town building. So I really just need to know sort of what, I don't expect a decision tonight, but I would like to know the direction y'all would like to go in.
Okay, I have a question, which is, do we know how many people that $33,050 was supposed to go to in $9 increments? We have to figure it out by.
And one of the reasons was once they ended the contract with us, they couldn't give us the money. They couldn't give the money to people because they no longer had the records. They just knew that this was half his portion. So there's not a way for them to verify it as long as they don't keep the information. And it would have been less than $9. That was just my count.
Okay. And is there potential for pushback from residents who might feel they're entitled to that $9?
I want to be very, very, very clear. Y'all have discussed and voted on this repeatedly. Good Energy came in and had this conversation. Y'all have already covered all of that, and the public had opportunities to come in and discuss it. The company just flat out said they were not going to give refunds. they would do the green energy credits and we would have no choice, or the town would have the 33K.
Okay.
So this is the best benefit for the town, with them flat out saying that they just weren't giving the money back.
Go ahead, Jake.
The budget in the DPW, is that exclusively for electric bills, or could it be used by Scott? If we apply this to that account, could he then use some of the money for his other repairs? Or is that only to pay for
So
electricity?
the town electrical bills are actually under y'all. I pay them, they're under 190s, which is a budget line that's, I mean, they're all under select board, but this one's directly in the select board budget.
Right.
So if we did that, I would have the account set up an account that would be only solely for that account and that purpose. But it would have to be a special revenue account, and that way it would carry over from year to year to year. Or if you want Scott to use it for projects, so if you want to use it for electric bills, then I would have to use it for this year.
So we could put it in his budget line and it would give him access to use it for the lights on the garage.
Yeah, we would put it in his budget, but yes, we would create an account for him to use for that purpose.
Is there a way to split it?
It's his town's money
Yeah.
to be used for town purposes.
Because I'm in favor of fixing some of the lighting. And then putting the rest into the electrical budget and then having it go back to free cash at the end of the year.
Okay.
Because of where we are in our budget situation, I think having that free cash and knowing that we're gonna have something would be beneficial for us.
Yeah, Scott, how much he has in mind.
Sure. Go ahead, ask you, Dave.
Wake up, Scott. You there?
This is all very hypothetical. He might not have a number.
It's fine. We'll put him on the spot, see if he's maybe.
Scott McCarthy, are you there?
If it sounded like it was a little bit of lighting, maybe.
Oh, you know what? Scott can't unmute himself anymore because I locked the meeting down so tight. Forgot that. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah, thank you. Jennifer threw this on me kind of late in the day, David. I haven't really had a chance to talk to Gary. That there's just some exterior lighting problems down there. We did have a grant that we just got and executed out at the sewer plant, but there's still some more exterior lighting problems. And I don't think it's going to be a ton of money, maybe a few $1,000s to probably address it. So, but then again, I'm not sure. I'd have to talk to Gary on that and see exactly what the problem is. We haven't dug into it at all.
So could we do something like,
3,000?
yeah, 3 or 5, and then anything that's left over goes with the rest of the money into the bank.
Yeah,
Because
I think,
otherwise we'll never have money to fix the stuff based on the current budget.
no, I think that's probably the best.
Somebody want to make a motion
I
to do
would
that?
love a motion.
I'll make a motion that we allocate $5,000 to Scott to fix the exterior lighting that's needed. Any remaining balance will come back to the town. And the 28,000
And 50.
and 50 remaining will be put into the electrical budget for the town. And the surplus will be free cash at the end of the year.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion by Amy, second by David. All those in favor? Aye. All right, thank you for that, Jennifer.
Thank you all.
It's nice when we get money back sometimes.
Yeah.
I am sure you'll have more.
It'll swing around again and it'll go back to the town. So I think this was a good solution.
Item 6.2, the Riley APR. Is that, who's gonna talk about that, Jennifer or Mike?
Mike, I'll grab it.
Yeah.
So this is just the final page of the APR. It's processed through, everything's ready to go. It's just your final approval of the documents. And then once y'all approve and sign off, we'll send them a check and get it submitted for the deed.
So moved.
Are there any questions?
Where's the property?
It's 167 Bay Road.
It's on Bay Road, right across from Moody Bridge Road, more or less.
Oh, yeah.
We've
This is starting again.
yeah, we
Town
voted
meeting,
on
the way you
it.
town meeting. This is just last step.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the final APR language.
Second.
Motion by Molly, second by David. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 6.4, fiscal year 27 budget. This is nothing big. I wanted this on here so we can start talking about anybody have any ideas for how we're going to put forth some way to get money to pay our bills in the upcoming year. Yes, Jane?
I think we need to focus on having an override, and I think we need to focus on having it not part of the annual town meeting. It should be earlier, like late February or early March, so the town can then go forward knowing what the residents wish.
I did,
Go ahead, sorry.
I just, no, you're fine. I've been seeing a lot on community pages and that, and I think what's a little bit more difficult, and I'll say that even being on the board for going into my 5th year, like, it's very difficult to understand all of this, but it was an operational override, so that we were looking for, and I think when people were trying to offer solutions, they didn't realize that it was from the operational budget, and you can't, you can't take funds out, from in and out of the operational budget, and it doesn't. I guess it's even hard to explain now. I know Linda's way better at it than I am, and probably Molly as well. But when you're talking about the operational budget, you can only reallocate within that portion, which is only certain things. So it's not, you can use like water or sewer reserves to cover for this, or, cover for that. So when you're talking about that, you're having to reallocate within that specific bucket. Yeah. So you can't take from other places to pay for that bucket.
I think one of the biggest challenges that I've seen from talking to people around town is getting accurate information out to them, because there's so much misinformation. I mean, there's people that, as of 2 days ago, thought we never laid off any fireworkers. That we never made any cuts. Everything's just trucking along. Nothing's changed, and we're just going to throw another override out there, and that's the end of it. So I think even if we had an hour or two town hall session, listening session, question and answer, just in general about what we've done to save money or what we've done to make changes. So that way we can put the information out there just on that topic, because if we go for another override in February or March and there's this much information out there, it's crashing.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know how to get the information out there, because if you look at some of the comments, people didn't know that there was a new online bill payment for tax bills. Even though we talked about it in a meeting, it went out of the tax bills, and just, I don't know how we reach everybody.
You have to some people, and I hate to say this because it's not nice, but it's kind. That the onus is on individuals as well to seek out information, ask the questions, which is why I appreciate the community page, because people are asking questions, people are getting involved. But if you're gonna sit at home and show up to a town meeting for the first time in 5, 10, 15 years, and then be all upset about it because you're like, well, no one told me this. Well, what did you do to seek out information?
One of the interesting things you just said, Amy, is people are asking questions, but they're typically getting the wrong answer.
There's that too.
Yeah. And I believe that education is going to be a huge part of this. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of people who have no idea what the levy is. Why can't we get more money out of the commercial? And we've talked about this before. They think, well, if you up the commercial rates, then we get more money. But we don't. You could put the onus on all the businesses. The residents pay nothing, but we still are going to be in a shortfall. So
your bucket's still the same. It's just the
Right.
percentage is being reallocated.
right. So we've somehow got to figure that out. I agree with you, David, that we need somehow to get people together to ask the questions and hope that they understand we're being truthful with them about whatever we're telling them. So,
But they also have to like give us some grace too, because, you know, a lot of people go back to those info sessions that constantly morph because we were learning new things as we were going as well. It's not like, you know, we had all the answers from the very start either.
What if we just, in February at some point, just set aside a 2-hour block where, you know, we limit the discussion just to, you know, what's changed since the overrun, since the special town meeting failure.
Yeah.
And that way people can ask the questions, and I'm sure there's gonna be people, I mean, to this day, I hear, well, if we just laid off more people, all our budget problems would be solved. They don't realize that the staffing is a very small percentage of our budget. They just, I can't get that through. So, you know, yes, that may be some savings, but if we have a chance to kind of explain that and put it on camera so that way everybody can see it, maybe that will solve some misinformation.
we can only do what we can do, right? We gotta try, and whether it sinks in is gonna be a whole nother issue.
No, but I can completely agree. We said this last time. I think, you know, one of the complaints was people felt that they were being, you know, preached to, as opposed to, you know, really being in a position where even if what they said or, you know, asserted is, we know is not correct, instead of just coming right back, like, that's not right, you can't do that. I mean, that puts people off. So, you know, we had talked about having a true listening session as well. And what I like the ordering of things, like if we do it, but, you know, David was just talking about how to first, and then have another meeting where they can, okay, you had a chance to hear, this is how it works, you know, with just the facts.
Yeah.
And then allow the opportunity for people to come back and share, whether it's ideas, questions, whatever.
Yeah,
I think it will go a long way, and if it's 50 people, it's 50 people, you know, yeah, but we've got Hadley Media, people can replay these things at their leisure. We can put Nixle alerts out, letting people know it's available on Hadley Media, knowing people can't make the meetings, that's, you know.
And I know that all that stuff gets shared to the community page as well.
Mhm.
And I know Alex, yeah.
Y'all still wanna do a finance night or no?
I mean, I think, I don't know if we could incorporate it to what David's talking about, because I think that is very important for people to understand, you know, what is an operational override versus, you know, just a straight override, and you know, what the different buckets are, and what you can pull from those buckets and what you can pay for. And I think a lot of people get confused with that.
I would say, I think it'd be important though to allow questions to be asked versus just saying, hey, these are all the things we've done. But allow people to ask questions of, okay, what was cut at the fire department? Or why was this cut at the fire department instead of cutting senior center staff? You know, so we could explain that reasoning beyond it.
And ultimately it will turn into a finance night.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll learn, you know, what they want to learn, they're allowed to ask any question.
But instead of just having slides prepared and
Yeah.
preaching at them like we were told. Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
that's
You did
that's
a
that's
3-night
great.
series. You did, here's what's changed, here's the listening, and then a finance night where there's some learning. A school night, the definitions and things like that, because I do think you're all correct, do not know, even though the definitions are on the website and we did it, people still don't understand it. And I think though that having that personal one-on-one where Linda's talking to people in a group, like coming out of Citizens Academy, you can see the benefit of people sort of understanding more of what people's roles are, what they do, and how to use those funds through the system. I do think there would be a benefit to it. You could do a 3-night or 3 evening sessions in February and sort of go from there perhaps.
And we should have like a suggestion box at the back too. just because some people might be a little embarrassed and, you know,
You
might
can also
not
take
wanna.
questions beforehand and.
Yeah,
So I would like to set those dates instead of just putting it off for another 2 meetings. So how about, are we gonna do it once a week, or are we gonna do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday all in 1 week? What is the sense?
That's good. That might be hard.
Yeah.
To get people to participate if it's that intense.
You also have to remember that, you know, depending on the board decides, Jane had suggested that if you are going to decide to do it, we're already be aiming for February or March, and it's leave a lot of time to have weekly meetings.
What if you did the first one
Yeah,
in January? In the last week of January, or the last week of January, you do an off cycle of your meetings, maybe?
So I think we need to decide which meetings go in which order, because listening to what Jennifer just said, I think the financial meeting needs to go before the open forum question and answer thing, because,
You did the education up front.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than
Yeah.
second, so if that's the
I-
case, I'm in. Sir,
I'd be leery to ask people to come back second time to ask their questions. I thought that.
David said they should be able to ask questions at every session.
Oh,
yeah, and the reality, to me, there's a few key terms that people need to understand, and theories, if you will, that they need to understand. I don't think it's gonna take very long to explain that. So we might be able to get by incorporating it into the meeting that David's talking about. I guess we can try and see what happens, and if we find we need more time, we do another one.
So I do have a curriculum, if you will, a format already done for the finance night. And I literally was just waiting for everybody to respond to the doodle poll. Well, I have not responded yet. But that would have, you know, Linda, Susan, Cheryl, select board members and finance committee members all do a little bit of explanations, and then have an open session question time, and then have a little bit of breakout. So if somebody had a specific question that was select board, they could come to like the select board table and have conversation with the select board and the finance, and that way it would allow people to do that. And I'm basing this off of what's successful in other towns. That's what I'm looking at, because I want to see where, you know, where we were successful, other towns were successful, so we can succeed as well. So that's something that's really worked well with other places. If that's something y'all would like to do, that would allow time for questions, but then you can also do your other two as well.
So I'm confused about the order. You're saying to do the finance education before we say where we currently are because of the.
That's Randy's, I mean, you were saying,
Well,
whatever y'all want to do.
How long your curriculum take 30 minutes out for the finance aspect?
But I mean, it can be pared down.
We can pare it down.
Academy's more, much
Well, I
broader.
was thinking 2 hours, but if you want to pare it down,
I think under an hour, you can hit the highlights.
Because then we could schedule it and say, hey,
Highlights.
at 5 o'clock, you
Exactly.
come in for this, and if you don't want to listen to that because you know it all, then you come in at 6 o'clock for the Q and A. Because otherwise, we're gonna hit the same thing we hit at town meeting, because I'm not sitting through all that to answer my question.
Absolutely. So do 2, or just, do you want to do just one big night?
Oh, at least 2.
You want to do,
Yeah, I think 3 is too much. I think 2. Because I think, again, if we're doing it right and we're listening to people, that it makes sense that there's another opportunity to come back, right?
so you want to do an educational kind of night, and then tell everybody what you've done with the cuts and everything to make the difference, and then you want to do the listening session? Or you want to do educational, then listening session with cuts? I just need to know.
Mhm. Well, I think if we're gonna do 2, both of them are gonna turn into listening sessions
Yeah,
at some
absolutely.
point, so. We just gotta figure out what
I
makes,
think the details of what goes when is less important right now than to get the dates set. Then
But I think if we set it for a 2 or 3 hour time period and we put some rules in place, so we don't have somebody filibustering that's upset. You'd say, hey, you get 3 minutes a question or 5 minutes, and then it's somebody else's turn and you can come back up to the mic just like a town meeting.
So I like putting, part of that, the hour before the select board meeting, and then or at least one of those, and your idea of putting it the last week in January, and either with our February meeting or the opposite week of February, second week of February.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do it the same night as the regular scheduled meeting. We need to, we should get the finance committee on board with this as well.
We've got Amy here.
So, are you listening, Amy?
You can't talk.
Now you can, Amy.
Okay. Yes, I'm listening, and I just did my doodle poll.
I was just looking at it.
What do you
I think
about-
the other one was going to be Paul McCretsky, but it doesn't look like he did his doodle poll yet.
No,
All right, so what do you think about what we're talking about?
I think that it would be good to have a couple, and I think the finance is smart to go first. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't think we should have too many. I think just I agree with just a couple.
Okay, thank you.
So could we start the 27th then, that last Wednesday?
Fine,
January?
the January 28th. That's the 27th, 28th.
28th is Wednesday?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, 28th.
Yes,
That's what my calendar says.
No, that's that next year.
And you're thinking, again, 5 to 7, 5's kind of hard, that's pretty early for a parent.
5:30 be the earliest.
I would do 6 o'clock.
I would do 6 to 8, yeah.
And if it runs over, then so be it. I mean, I would stay. I don't care.
Yeah.
If, better to get questions answered.
Okay, and then the next one, what about that February 11th?
Yep.
Just keeping them on Wednesday nights.
That's fine.
Is that okay?
I'm good with that. Everybody else good with that?
I think so.
Is it okay with your calendar?
Check.
And again, 6 to 8 p.m.
That's
Yes.
awesome. That's winter break or not?
It's not the week before.
Okay, good.
And so that's okay for both of
Yeah,
those?
yeah.
And you'd like, finance part, and then what's changed? And as Mike said, they're gonna turn into listening sessions.
Yeah, I mean, I think starting with the first night being the education, and people are gonna have a lot of questions just on like how things work.
Yeah.
And then the second meeting would be the one where we talk about here's what happened since the last one, and here are the things that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can have added their.
Sure.
Okay, we have
Sure.
like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll put together a flyer and I'll go ahead and make a portal so people can submit questions in advance and start.
And get something to Alex that he can post so that people get as much advance notice as possible.
We're gonna do
We
this.
can certainly send out a senior sender.
You wanna do both?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lock it, we're gonna lock the meeting down.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can't handle that again.
Sure.
Gonna have to be a lot of hand raising from the audience. But yes, we can do that and I'll also design a suggestion box. I'm kind of excited about that.
Anybody have anything else they'd like to talk about for that?
Yeah, the other thing we talked about at the last meeting was not waiting. You just staying hyper focused on the override, but looking at making some changes between now and the end of the fiscal year, right? Remember that conversation? Okay. I don't know, Mike, you wanted to talk about that at all? Like, is that
Well, yeah, I
what you're
mean,
thinking?
we obviously know, as David had mentioned, that, you're gonna have to explain and then show people that you've done something different. What's different that you've done if you're gonna ask for another override, even if it is a significantly reduced override. I think the idea would be to try to find efficiencies where we can right now, in this current budget cycle, and make them reality, and try to reduce, the need even more while becoming more efficient, so to speak. So we're looking at that right now. We're looking at how we do things across town in all departments. We're gonna be very soon, we were actually going to start our budget meetings this week. It's gonna be tomorrow. Unfortunately, Linda can't speak right now because of what she had. And so we will be starting all the budget meetings next week. They're already all scheduled. We'll be working with each department head to try to figure out if there is anything that we can do, any moves we can make, any adjustments we can make, any consolidations we can make in different departments, share needs, things like that, to try to reduce it even further. I mean, as you know, we did lay off firefighters. We did reduce the town side of employees by approximately 10 positions. The school did take a significant monetary cut in order to get us basically to the end of this fiscal year. But I think one of the things that we did hear loud and clear from everyone for the listening part that we did in our previous public hearings was don't come back to us without showing us what you've done and what how you've tightened your belts. And then we can have a discussion. So these are things that we are looking at right now. And we're going to start having these discussions with department heads as soon as we're supposed to start tomorrow, but as early as next week to start talking about these other adjustments we can make. We'll bring some recommendations to the board in the very near future, because those adjustments will have to be built into the FY27 budget bill. So if you decide that you don't need X position, whatever it is, I'm not going to name any departments, that portion of that budget will be removed, and we'll be able to move into FY27 with that delta that we've been talking about for a couple of years now, a little bit closer. So that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Okay. Don't think we can do much else. Try every which way we can. Right, we all good on that one?
Yeah.
Right, item 7.1, temporary job description alteration. And I don't see any Lauren Wilcox, so.
No, I can explain this. This is, as you, I'm not sure if anybody remembers, but back in November, we had to do a temporary job description alteration for the TA position, basically add those duties to my duties, based upon town council's recommendation. You have multiple people kind of pulling double duty in this town right now. This is one of them. Likely we should have done this back in September when we appointed her to this position. All this does is call out in writing what she's already doing. She's performing both roles, and this puts it in documentation. You have multiple options as to what you can do with this. You can eliminate it altogether. You can pass it as, like I said, simple documentation as to what her job description currently is. It is a temporary role. It's kind of a temporary and emergency role because these two people in human resources ensure that all of your town employees are getting their benefits and being paid every 2 weeks. So you have some options of how you want to handle it, but this is basically putting in writing what Joe has been doing for, I think, since September, when we appointed her temporarily.
I think it might be helpful for everybody to hear what the options are. I don't know what options have been looked at.
Yeah, I mean, so what originally happened is this position was Joan's position. It was changed into I don't remember exactly what Joan's title was, but it was changed at some point, I believe by the Collins Center, into a manager position, payroll and benefits manager position. It was open for months. There was one person that was hired. I believe she stayed for 3 weeks. I don't know, not very long. When the first round of layoff discussions began, and she decided that maybe this wasn't for her because she was last in, first out type of thing. And it had remained open. So you had one person in that office basically doing 3 jobs. And that was untenable. There was Lauren, the HR director, at that point in time was about to roll out a brand new payroll system to automate as much of the payroll across town as we could. And there was essentially no way that one person was going to be able to do that, plus all the HR work. So, being that my assistant has had experience in that area, she offered to help. So I sent her over to speak with Lauren. They felt like it would be a good temporary fit and brought it before the board, and she has been in that spot. The issue is there's a hiring freeze right now in town. And so we don't know, I have no way of knowing how temporary this is going to be. So while the intent is to eventually, hopefully, fill this position with a full-time position, I have no idea if and when that's going to happen. So ultimately, just like with your interim town administrator situation, town council recommended that you bring it in line with a single job description to cover all of the duties. And when the temporary position is removed, liquidated, eliminated, however you decide it, and when you find a new town administrator, both situations, you simply remove the additional wages and hire the new person. The way that it had been done previously, my understanding, and I wasn't here for the Collins Center study, how they handled it was there was a reevaluation of permanent from people whose job descriptions and have taken on extra duties, and it was intended to be permanent. And that person was reevaluated, and whatever stipend they had been being paid was added to their base wages, so to speak. That's how I understood that to have happened. This is not permanent, it is temporary, and again, you can remove this position, you can meet with the finance committee and elect to try to unfreeze this position and hire for it. We are in the middle of discussing layoffs. It was open for 8 or 9 months as it is. I don't know when you can get to apply for it. You can remove the person who's in the job, repost internally if you'd like, however you'd like to handle it. But again, all this document does, it doesn't change the wages or the hours or anything like that. It just explains what her new temporary duties are.
Can I, there's been a lot of grumbling, internally about this. I'm having trouble getting my head wrapped around like the issue. My understanding is that, I don't believe that there was, to your knowledge, was there somebody else at town hall or elsewhere in town who was qualified to do this who wasn't asked, or?
Just, so the thing about this position and for Joan, it's a confidential employee, which means they cannot be in the union. So you have a very limited, finite amount of people who could have done this additional work on a part-time basis, which would have been your department heads, myself, the chief's assistant, and Chief Spanknable's assistant.
Yep.
And that's who can do it because they're not in the unions.
Right. And do people understand that, or is
I mean,
My understanding-
I don't know, but I just wanted to point that out, that it had to be someone who's not in the union because it's a confidential employee. And if you did take that position on a temporary basis, you'd have to be taken out of the union. And then you wouldn't be able to do your union job, I guess.
They wouldn't be able to do their
Yes,
day job.
yes. So that's just something else to, on this layer of how this happened. There's literally, I'm not thinking, I don't have time to take on extra work. It was Heidi, and none of your department heads do was Heidi or Joe.
Jane,
So I understand that we needed her when we were changing our payroll system. But since we've had a hiring freeze, what does the HR director do that she cannot now be doing payroll and take this on? Since we're not doing any advertising, we're not doing any hiring, we're not talking about intakes of people. And is that so? I mean, originally in the job description, HR was supposed to be able to do those things. And I think in terms of looking at condensing, talking about what are we doing to save money, I think we should consider that as an option.
I completely agree with you. Which is another reason why when it was adopted as a temporary.
Yeah.
Temporary.
And it was, and we're
It
glad
means-
we had her when we needed her, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I would invite you to speak directly with the HR director, or I can invite her to talk about it. She can talk more intelligently about how great the need is for the position than I can. But my guess is that it's still very much in need because you've had 2.5 people, two full-time people and a half-time person in that office previously, and then for 8 months you had one, and that it was 8 months of falling behind essentially. So now you have this other half-time person essentially that's about, when she works well over what she's supposed to be working to try to get all this stuff done. But I'm happy to, certainly have Lauren email, let you know, give you a little bit more background on it. But again, temporary means it can be eliminated whenever you decide that you don't think it's needed.
Right.
Or for any reason. So, like I said, I would caution you to go down that road. I was speaking with HR.
Sure, absolutely.
So the school does their own payroll, right?
They just
They just
started.
go ahead, David. Amy, I'll get you in a minute.
So the school does their own payroll, so really the town hall portion of it is how many employees?
114,
Minus a few.
had that number,
Right.
less the ones we've let go.
Right, so. Because town hall does police and fire as well, right?
DPW.
Yeah. So I just. I don't know, it amazes me that we can't manage to automate paying 114 people when there's businesses with tens of thousands of people that can manage to get paid in an automated system. It blows my mind. And
I'm guessing there's way more to it than just pushing buttons for the payroll to get done. There's a lot of stuff that needs to get done in addition, but Amy, go ahead.
Oh, she can't come up.
Jennifer, let Amy speak.
I am Granville. Don't click on anything, okay? There we go.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So I'm not talking about whether it is a good idea or a bad idea or a temporary idea. I'm saying, I heard about this first because, just like Molly, I've heard about it from, employees, and they asked me about it, and I, once again, know nothing about what they're talking about. So I think when we have these types of things, such as spending money for stipends or spending money for big things like this, that you keep the finance group, we've been having board meetings, keep us in the loop. We can be on the same page, but not if we don't know about it. And this is the kind of thing that I'm trying to be on the same page. We could have maybe talked about this. We met last month, or this month we're meeting. It's not that we're trying to be difficult. It's just we don't even know. So when it comes time to say, oh, the finance agrees with all this. No, we didn't even know what was going on. So I'm not gonna say whether or not this is a good idea, bad idea, or anything, because I didn't know anything about it. So that is my problem. And so I would ask that this kind of thing come to the finance just for group discussion, by board or something, so that we're in the loop. So that way, when we are asked questions, we can support or not support the item.
I think, and Mike, just based on what Amy was just saying, I don't know what other way to put it, but I almost feel like this was a pre-existing condition. Like, this isn't new, but the documentation tonight is new.
It's trying.
The compensation arrangement was approved by the board back in September.
Yes, it's been.
Yeah, so Amy, this arrangement actually kind of predates the conversation and commitment we had with the finance committee. I'll speak for myself. I'm still committed to making sure going forward, if there's anything new that's coming up that has compensatory implications with the budget or whatever, that we want to make sure that the finance committee is at least made aware of it, if not have the opportunity to chime in. So tonight, what we're being asked to do is, legal has recommended that we change the documentation to be more appropriate, right?
And it also bears noting that, Amy, I completely agree with you. Again, in September, I didn't know then what I know now on how we're supposed to handle these things.
Yeah.
So we have, we've been counseled by town council to remedy these things, but I just also want to make sure that everyone understands that, just like with your TA position, the wage that you're paying is less than what was budgeted. This is a budgeted position. This is not an additional position. This position already existed. And we even had somebody in this role for a very short period of time. So, what she's being compensated is not what was budgeted for. So you will have surplus, just like with the TA position. It's basically people trying to help make sure that your employees get paid. And if we determine that that's no longer necessary, this will be one of the positions that gets efficiency. I know that's not a word.
No, and if I could just also remind everybody too, the previous incumbent did not regularly work 40 hours a week. So in my mind,
Because she looked it over.
went a day over.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, I just want to remind everybody, if we could get the job to be able to be done in a 40-hour week, it's a huge, huge step forward, let alone, and again, I think having the schools pick up their fair share of employees is going to be a huge help, but we just haven't quite seen the benefit of that yet. I know the timesheet, instead of it being all physical paper now, it's been templatized. Is that a word?
Yeah, things are moving in the right direction.
Yeah, which is not very.
Like I said, I would hate to derail it before it's done. As David had mentioned, and Molly as well, the school is just beginning to take on their own payroll. It took a while to get them up to speed. And I get what you're saying, David, and I'd like to hear from Lauren as to the technical aspects of how the payroll system works, but we are leaps and bounds ahead of where it was 6 months ago, 8 months ago. I mean, Molly's not kidding. People were handing in paper timesheets, and they had to be gone through one at a time. It's different. It's digitized. It's moving in the right direction. I just don't know that it's where it needs to be just yet.
Typically, the payroll, before they did digital with Joan, it was paper and then more by themselves. Payroll had to be about 5 o'clock on Wednesday for everybody to be paid at the end of the next time, at the payday. But this week, which this is the third day that the school's done their payroll. They had payroll done and submitted, at midday on Tuesday. And so it's definitely getting quicker. They're seeing the benefits of it, but they just need a little bit of time to see what that really looks like.
Okay,
Is there any reason the town cannot combine with the school to have one person doing payroll for everybody?
I don't know that there isn't. It's-
Because I mean, if
there's
they've
things
got
to
it
look at.
figured out,
something to
let's
talk about.
look at it.
Yes,
No, the school just started, we actually just went the other way.
We did,
We've
yeah,
been doing the school's payroll for
Well,
years.
but if they've got it so that they can do it, let's let them do it. They've got somebody
They are school.
dedicated to it.
Oh, they can't, they don't have
Physical.
anybody dedicated. There's nobody dedicated to it. Their accounts payable person does it with their business manager supervising.
Okay,
They don't have anybody, and they've only been doing it for 3 weeks, and Lauren is one that trained them.
okay, but I'm just saying, if we're looking for efficiencies,
Yeah.
let's not overlook that
right. So we can talk about that in the
in the future.
The issue before us this evening is a job description change and temporary, right? Temporary job description change. And the reason we need to do this is because if we don't, the Ethics Commission will be after us.
Oh, good for them.
Well, it's not good for
I
them.
know, I've been
I
got.
have no idea. So it just been, like I said, town council recommended that this is
Right.
how it should
We
be.
already voted
Yeah.
on this. I move that we accept.
Right, and so just to be clear, we're voting on a job description, a temporary job description change. All the other stuff that we've been discussing, we certainly need to bring it up again, but we could bring it up with the finance committee and talk about, again, efficiencies or however we want to look at it, but
Oh, that's the sheet. I was trying to go, what? Now I'm good.
you know them?
Yeah.
So anyhow, how about we just vote on this temporary job? Okay, Jane made a motion to accept and Amy seconded it. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Moving right along, town administrators report.
Okay, so go right there. That you can see from my list of open positions that is growing unfortunately, and they are all being held, both of you. DPW positions, permitting coordinator, dispatcher, firefighter, police officer. You'll learn a little bit more about the firefighter position at our next meeting, fire chief is here. Fiber update, I finally have gotten a meeting scheduled. I have all like 20 different people that are important to come to that meeting all on the same date. So that'll be happening this month. No change in the solar situation, no change in the levy situation. Library roof, town council is going to meet with the select board in executive session to discuss updates on that shortly. And the only other item that I have is the fire chief's report. I will just highlight a few items from the 231 Russell Street fire. As everyone knows, unfortunately, on Saturday, January 3rd, at approximately 8:58, we did receive a call for a fire at the massage school located at 231 Russell Street. The fire chief arrived within 5 minutes, and a engine one arrived just a few minutes after that with one full-time firefighter and multiple call force members showed up to assist, and more showed up later than that to help out. No civilians or responders were injured, and all units cleared the scene at around 1:22 in the morning. On Sunday, January 4th. Obviously, our thoughts are with the owner, the staff, the students, and all those that are affected by this loss. And the fire chief would like to thank the following entities for their assistance and support. The Hadley Public Safety Dispatchers, Hadley DPW, Northampton Fire, Granby Fire, Sunderland Fire, South Hadley Fire District 1, Pelham Fire, the State Fire Marshal's Office, Eversource, Hadley Police, Action Ambulance, Ambulance Fire Department, Amherst Fire Department, Hatfield Fire Department, South Hadley Fire District 2, Massachusetts Department of Fire Services, Mass DOT, Berkshire Gas, and also Firefly Drone, which apparently was capturing photos and videos to help document everything that went on there. And you will notice that the fire chief did not thank himself as is expected. So I would like to make sure that people understand what he did that day and how incredibly he handled that situation. Even though the building was the boss, he wasn't the first person on the scene. Basically, boots on the ground, doing both the job of a fire chief as well as the job of a firefighter. So I think it's important that he be recognized for his contribution to that, considering he recognizes it. So I just wanted to, that's the last item on my TA report. If there's any questions, holler.
I don't hear anybody yelling, so I think you're good. Thank you very much. Do we have any liaison reports? No. No, would you unmuzzle Mr. McCarthy, please? Scott,
Yes, sir.
I have in front of me an award nomination form for one Tony Horton. Is that something you want me to deal with, or do you want to deal with it?
If you can, I don't have that document in front of me, Randy, to read it.
Okay. So is this something that he was given?
Yes.
All right. So I will do what I can. So Tony Horton, who works for the DPW Water Division, received the Waterworks Pride Award for recognition of individuals who give that extra effort to make a difference in the waterworks profession. And just a little something, Tony has his T4 and D2 water operator licenses and was recently promoted to primary treatment operator and operations manager. This position was created specifically to reflect the duties and responsibilities that Tony had been performing above and beyond his previous role. When he started nearly 10 years ago, the unaccounted for water was at 31.4%. It is now at 6.3%, which is almost 80% reduction, which is awesome.
Which is also money.
Yes, money, yeah. He was instrumental in simplifying the process and improving efficiency of the backflow prevention device inspections. He recognized that having the devices on GIS made tracking, retesting, and invoicing easier, therefore increasing revenue by saving time. He brought the department into the modern world by switching quarterly meter reads from manual reads, taking about 3 weeks, to radio reads, which take less than 1 full day. These are a few, but by no means at all, of his contributions to his profession. The list is long and it's ongoing. I could continue to read, but I think I would just say that it's obviously Tony is a huge asset to this town, and we give him big congratulations for receiving this award. And if you'd like to say anything else, Scott, feel free.
He did it to himself.
I'm sorry. I appreciate you taking the time to acknowledge this, Randy, and the rest of the board. I really feel that this was well deserved for Tony of what he does for the department and the town. He really goes above and beyond, and he's a spectacular employee, and I just can't say enough about him and what he brings to the operation in the water department, also just the DPW. But he's just a fantastic person, employee, and I hope he continues his career for a long time with the town of Hadley.
So do we. And thank you very much.
Thanks and congratulations to Tony.
Yes, for sure. Okay, no more. That was liaison announcements. I think there's several of us that have them. So we'll start at the end of the table.
Okay.
Mr. Phil.
All right, this is from Ben at Board of Health. It's a statement on flu. Mass Department of Public Health reports very high flu activity with cases climbing this year. It has been reported to be associated with the deaths of 3 pediatric patients in Massachusetts during recent weeks. In addition, there have been 29 adult influenza deaths reported so far this season. So the Department of Public Health urges everyone 6 months of age and older to stay up to date on their vaccinations, and these annual shots can be given at the same time. They're available from local boards of health, community health centers, pharmacies, and many healthcare providers. It's especially important for people at higher risk of severe disease, including adults 65 and older, children between 6 months and 2 years, and people with chronic respiratory conditions, or heart disease, immunocompromised people who are pregnant. Then the other one is Mary Thayer from the CPA. I'd like to remind everybody that applications for CPA effective February 1st.
Thanks, sir. Molly?
I have condolences. Do you want me to do that now?
Sure.
Okay. On behalf of the select board, we'd like to express condolences to the families of the following individuals who were either Hadley residents or had strong ties to the town of Hadley. They include Jean Feigenkevitz, William Keefe, and Vincent Stankiewicz. So again, condolences from the board to the friends and family.
Thank you, Molly. I have an announcement from the town clerk. Nomination papers for the May 19th, 2026 annual town election are now available in her office. The seats that are going to be up for election this year, there's going to be 1 seat on the select board for a 3-year term, an assessor for a 3-year term, Board of Health 3-year term, Planning Board 5-year term, School Committee 3-year term, Elector under Oliver Smith Will 1-year term, Library Trustees 3-year term. There's going to be 2 of those, 2 on the school committee as well. Apologize. Park Commission 3-year term, 1 seat. Park Commission 1-year term, 1 seat. Housing Authority 4-year term, 1 seat, and Housing Authority 3-year term, 1 seat. Friday, March 27th is the last day to obtain nomination papers for town election. Tuesday, March 31st is the last day to submit nomination papers to the registrars for certification. Tuesday, April 14th, the last day to file nomination papers with the town clerk. Thursday, April 26th. Yeah, April 2016th. April 16th, last day to withdraw nomination papers. Monday, April 27th, last day to register to vote for town election. And Thursday, April 30th, last day to post warrant for annual town election and annual town meeting. Okay, anybody else have anything?
Isn't that the meeting?
May 7th.
Yeah, only a week before?
Yep, for annual town meeting, it's only week before, special 2
Okay.
weeks, or 14 days.
Jane or Amy, do you have anything?
No, just a motion to move to executive session.
Pursuant to general law, chapter 30, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation. If an open meeting law may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. In this case, it'll be for the library roof, and we will not be reconvening an open session today.
Second.
Okay. The motion has been made and seconded. As chair of the Hadley Select Board, I state that the board has moved and seconded to enter into executive session, and that I state that discussing the matter in open session will have a detrimental impact on the bargaining position of the town of Hadley. Roll call vote, please, Jennifer.
Or Calder, Phil,
Yes.
Keegan,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
Nevin Smith.
Yes.
And Parsons.
Yes.